Oh man.
All right, Logan, you want to start this one up?
Yeah. Oh, it's been a while. I gotta pull off the rust.
Mama, baby,
Uh,
match my M&Ms.
yeah, that's right. I didn't practice my singing. I guess I just introduce it. I think that's how we go. I'm Logan Cornelius, right? We got Mike White leading it, and then the infamous Sean Boyer of former, maybe present Chico Spikes.
Okay, Logan, thank you for that introduction. I'll
It
do it
wasn't as
again.
good as it wasn't as good as you, but I just wanted to get out. I was nervous. I didn't know what to do.
It's been a while.
Well, we are back with the Rally Podcast. That is Mike, Logan, and Sean, where we talk about some round net stuff, some spike ball stuff. If you don't know the difference, figure it out. Just kidding. But is there a URL for that? Spikeball.com/roundnet.
Spikeball.com should do it.
Spikeball.com.
Uh,
So,
maybe it wouldn't. TexasRoundnet.com will explain the difference.
okay. We are back
Plug.
with our first podcast of 2019. We haven't podcasted in a minute.
A hot minute.
Probably just a quick one today. Talk about a few things that are top of mind, and to cover some things. You guys ready?
I like that. Yeah, let's cover some
Jump
things.
in.
Gotta be our
Okay.
2019 motto.
Cover some things.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Cash
cash
it
that in. Anyway, starting off, first topic. You heard it here first. April Fool's Day video. Logan, what'd you think?
I thought it was. Pretty funny. Like you made a good. You played your part. Whatever your part was, you played it well.
That was just me. There was no
Yeah,
instructions on how to dress or how to shave my face.
you just showed up. You just showed up that
Just all
day and looked like
organic.
that.
Mike being Mike.
That's true. I believe that actually.
Guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I hope you do. But check back on the Spikeball Instagram for the post on April 1st. You'll be singing it all day.
Oh, yeah, I got a URL for that. Spikeball.com/April 1st.
It's free
It's
Spikeball
actually
sets.
it's closed now. We
Oh.
had a ton of engagement, although people were skeptical if it was real. A lot of people signed up for a free kit, and I will not confirm whether it was real or not yet. We'll find out. But happy April 1st.
I just love all the comments that are like, "Oh my God!" Like someone will tag their friend, and their friend will be like, "Dude, it's April 1st," and it's like, "Oh, I'm an idiot." And then half are like, "I'll just sign up. Just why not?" Like, I think wasn't it one year, Cards Against Humanity did like a bag of crap, and they sent like a literal cow turd to your house.
Yeah, well,
And
they've
people
done
were
something
like,
like that
people,
every year.
people paid like $10 for it.
Yeah, people were paying money to get that delivered to their house, and
Yeah.
pretty crazy what people will do.
So you may get a free set, you may not. Too early to tell. But anyway, check out the video. I think it's pretty great. And if you guys see Andrew Card's video in the Facebook group,
Oh, I got Mike Whited.
did you see it, Sean?
Or Mike rolled.
I didn't see it.
It was
What was it?
essentially he posted it and said like a great rally from the Southern Series. And the rally starts, and then mid wind up, it just goes into the April Fool's
Yeah, I
video.
saw that.
I'm just
That
like,
was pretty good.
I'm so mad.
Respect.
But but it was, I just like he went out of his day to make that, and that's what I love for all the laughs. So, okay, moving on to something a little more serious. We already had the first tour stop of the year. Logan played with Brian for Elysium, and Sean Boyer
That's right.
actually took it home with Jarrett Rouse. Shouldn't have
He did.
pushed.
Wow.
He did,
Shouldn't
and
have pushed.
shouldn't
That's
have
impressive.
pushed. Where did that come from?
It's actually a play on words from Fortnite. For those of you that play, I think
Oh.
you'll understand.
Yeah.
Jarrett and I will dabble in duos there, so we figured we might as well pull it into the spike ball realm as well, and it worked out.
I didn't even think of that, but it makes so much sense. I'm like, do you guys just like hate the push shot? I think
That's what
Sean Boyer
thought
kind of
too.
does hate
Okay.
the push shot a little bit.
Weird flex, but okay.
We'll keep the other teams guessing. They don't know where we're gonna go.
And But going forward, Sean, last year you played in like 2 tournaments, and now you're going to go 2 for 2 playing San Francisco with Skylar, bringing back Chico Spikes.
I don't know about 2 for 2 because rumor on the street is that Chiswick Showalter is going to be playing, although they're not signed up yet. They need to get on that. So I would love to have a shot at them with Sky. It'll be interesting going from playing with like Jarrett and then going and playing with Sky because they're such different play styles, I would say, but both amazing players in their own regard. So it'll be a lot of fun.
But it's possible we could get the Chiswick Showalter Chico Spikes matchup we've always wanted.
I think it's going to be what,
would be
21-10,
great.
21-13?
Maybe like 8, 7.
Don't discredit them this soon, guys. Come on.
Yeah, good
I
point,
knew
good
that was
point.
coming. I knew that was coming. With Sean, so you're going to be playing more after this, or just these 2, or you're just winging it?
Kind of just winging it. I don't have any more tournaments on the schedule planned for the season aside from this weekend with Sky. I don't think I'm going to be making a resurgence into the competitive scene. Whether we win it or not, it's just kind of more take it as we go, have fun with it.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And Logan, you're teaming up with Brian.
That's right.
Playing you guys probably will debut on the power rankings this Friday. And
I hope we make it.
but you guys, that's going to be a season-long thing, yeah?
Yep. Yeah, we're doing it, so it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Doing taser stuff off the field, and Elysium is like it's like the competitive carnation of Texas Roundup.
That's what everyone aspires to be.
Yep.
The fearless
Exactly.
leaders.
Oh yeah.
We actually had the pleasure of playing Elysium in San Diego.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
They got some talent.
Logan told me he went a little easy on you because it was your first tournament back, and he was just like,
Yeah, I felt.
Well, I
that's Sean
appreciate it. I actually credit Logan about 25% for the whole win in general. So,
So,
Will,
what?
are Jarrett and I going to be on this power rankings or not? Do you have to be
No.
like an established team?
Yeah.
That's lame.
Sean.
Don't get greedy, Sean.
I'm greedy. I want
Sean's going to be on it. Jarrett's going to be on it with someone else. You're getting a little jealous. Because Jarrett
Why
says
would Jarrett
him
be
and,
on with someone else?
he said him and
Is that a-
Travis are playing this year.
Is that actually a thing?
They signed
I
up
don't
for
know
the
about that.
established team, Doc.
I think it's just a con to get themselves on the power rankings without ever
If
Did
playing.
he
it
do
is-
this on
if
April
it-
1st?
if they are fooling me, fool me
You're gonna-
once,
you're
shame
gonna
on
look
me.
like you're gonna look ridiculous, Mike.
Teach a man to fool me, and I'll be fooled for the rest of my life. So, okay, maybe not. But Jarrett, as far as I know, Jarrett's going to be on there with a different partner. Team name, Flexual Healing. So,
That's a good
we'll
one.
see. We'll see. And then, damn, Chiswick Showalter. They haven't played. Well, they played just in Denmark since nationals.
I heard
You-
they're a Euro only team now. Is that not
A
true?
Euro only team. Well,
Yeah.
here's a question I have again, as we've talked about last year. Is anyone going to beat Chiswick Showalter this year?
It's a good question. Let me watch them play first. Not in Europe.
You just need to see just one tournament, see how they're doing.
I should see how they're doing after one. It's been a while.
If you recall, 2 years ago, they weren't ranked. They were still, I don't know where they were ranked, maybe 3, 4, or 5 going into the season, and then they went to San Francisco and beat everyone. So maybe we'll see it again. Well, obviously they're going in as number 1, but again it'll be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, they're still really good.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I mean, they're still really good at what they're businessmen now, educating the youth. So
I think the big thing for them will just be staying motivated, and we'll probably get a glimpse of that in San Francisco because it's hard to win so much and then, keep having that drive. And there may be some burnout this year. I kind of hope so. I'd like to see them lose. I love the guys, but I want some turnover. So I don't know. I think it'll be fun to see what team steps up and gives them a challenge.
I think they're
Sounds
still
like
going to be motivated until they get that three-peat, and then it's like, cool, we got the three-peat, we're done.
do what no other team has done before,
Yeah, besides Ogres.
besides Ogres. That's true. I forget that they three-peated.
Speaking of that, transitioning over, just got the announcements or the official announcements like this past week that the teams next year, I think, well, we have Jordy and Becca and Allie and Ashley. Who's your
By
pick?
by next year, you mean this year?
Sorry, this year. Right, I forget it's already started.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
they haven't played yet, right? So
Right.
Allie and Ashley are playing this weekend. The other pair aren't. But
Yep.
who do you got? Ogres Heroes, top women's team splitting up.
I would take Becca and Jordy.
Yeah, they're gonna be a fierce duo. I'm excited to see the matchup when it finally happens, but I don't think we can count out Allie and Ashley because they're both. It's just gonna be insane to watch.
I hope that they meet in the finals of like, I don't know. That's the thing. They're probably gonna meet in the finals of like a kind of small tournament, but it would be great if it was like, not like Santa Monica. Like that's the first time they meet. That'd be pretty cool, but probably not gonna happen.
I would imagine too throughout the season they're gonna match up quite a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
depends how many they go to. They're Jordy and Becca aren't necessarily close in geographically, so that's some.
I actually
coordination.
I heard she's gonna be moving out east.
Oh, over the summer, I
Ooh,
believe.
true. I did hear that. I'm missed that. So that
Read
would be
that on-
something too.
Did you read that on Spiky Leaks?
Spiky Leaks.
I
I got
did.
the email this morning. I do remember like once ever I got an email from Spiky Leaks, and it was just so wrong. It was like, who's Skylar Bowles playing with this year? And I'm like, I know who he's playing with this year, and it is none of those three people that you just messaged me about. So maybe a little
Dang.
unreliable, but maybe they will see a resurgence of Spiky Leaks after I mention it here, and talk trash about it.
What a dream.
But something else wanted to talk about. There was a nice post in the SRA Facebook group about tips for your first tournament. So I kind of wanted to start by asking you guys about your first tournament, and then maybe if you have some tips for someone joining the game. Because I'd say when we went to our first tournament and going to your first tournament at San Francisco is a little bit different.
It's true. And do you mean when you say first tournament? Do you mean first tournament like SRA tournament or any tournament? in
Logan,
general?
that's a great question, great distinction. I'd say let's
thank you.
tackle both if you can.
Oh, all right. I love tackling.
He was an all-state linebacker.
I don't even remember if that's true, but that's neither here nor there. So my first tournament, my first individual tournament was actually a tournament I hosted, so that was a little bit different. But the first tournament was in 2013, and I hosted it at Texas A&M. It was the Texas A&M inaugural, and Harding Brumby actually drove down from New Mexico, and it's a 10+ hour drive to make that drive. And at this time, Harding Brumby, he was not very good. Harding he's a very good player now, but that first tournament Harding was not good, and it was like crazy because like this guy drove all the way and he wasn't very good, but clearly the dedication showed as he's a top player now. But that first tournament, I mean, the first tournament then was the same as always. I just wanted everyone to feel welcome and have fun, and wanted everyone to become friends that was there. And a lot of players that played and came to that tournament are still friends in the Texas scene today. Yeah, and then but the first, I guess this wasn't necessarily an SRA tournament, but it was like the unofficial nationals.
Mhm.
That Sean Skylar at too. But I actually played with Scott Palmer, my now boss. I was just trying to go to the tournament, and so like I played with him, and I think I'd like emailed or tweeted at Chris, and like he connected us, and we ended up playing together. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed at Scott's performance.
Were you so
sorry,
stoked
Scott.
coming in? You're like a Spike Ball employee. He's gonna be so good.
Yeah, he was actually the only full-time Spike Ball employee at that time. And I didn't even know if he'd be good. I didn't really care. I just wanted to play. And I couldn't get anyone to go with me, and so I played with him, and he wasn't very good. And I don't even remember how. I know we didn't do well. We got knocked off pretty early, and but with that one, it was just cool because there was a lot of people, like a lot of new faces I met, and just like every game. One thing, like every game, I always try to ask people what their name are, how they learned about the game, and where they're from. And that's just kind of a good way to get connected with people. Because you learn them, you start to form a relationship with them, especially at a big tournament like that, where it's like I didn't necessarily know a lot of people. I think at that time there were like 50 teams there. Sean, you probably remember how many teams were there better than I do, but it was something like that, which is small compared to today's standards. But yeah, just like getting to know everyone and like introduce each other at games, and it was a lot more Wild West back then. But and it was fun. Like after we got knocked out, watching the games and watching other teams play, and it adds the competitive drive. So fun environment, and just tried to get to know as many people as I could.
Sean had a little different perspective on that day.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of. I think Logan's right though. It's the tournament scene back then was so different compared to what it is now. Not necessarily better or worse, just different. And so, like, I'm trying to think back to my first tournament. I think it was 2012 in Pismo Beach, and I wasn't playing with Skyward back then. I was playing with another buddy, and we went pretty far. We made it to the finals. Actually, we were playing the Hanson Beavers back then. And the one tip I would give, or like advice, I was so exhausted when we got to the finals. I had never played that much round net for that extended period of time before, so that's one thing I would tell someone who's going to their first tournament. Like, if you're going to go and you're going to plan to do well and play a lot of games, you better be ready from like an endurance standpoint, because we got our butts kicked in the finals because we just couldn't keep up. And so that's a tough one. The tip I would give for like the scene now, I think it would just be like, if you think this is your first tournament and you think you're good because you can beat the buddies in your neighborhood, you're wrong. You're going to go and probably get killed, but you'll learn a thing or two. So just come in like humble and expect to like play some really good teams.
There's something like, you're just standing next to a guy and you don't know how good they are, and then they like rip a hit past you and you're like, oh, oh, yep.
Yeah, is that legal? What do you do? Is that legal?
Yeah. So much of that. Like, I feel like so many times I would like, it was just a progression, just linear. Like, go to a tournament. Oh, they do that. That's good. Well, at first you hate it. You're like, ugh, that's not fair. What? They're just doing that? And then boom. Then I like learn that. Go to another tournament. What's this? And like all this other stuff. And it just slowly builds up where you like learn stuff and just keep bringing it back if you can.
Yeah, like be ready to adapt and implement new strategies, because you're going to be like learning them on the fly. Things you've never seen before are probably going to take place, depending on what division you're in, sure. Right. But you're getting opened up to a whole new community of players. You're bound to be a little out of your element.
Right. Yeah, something like your skill can take you pretty far, your hitting and your good serves. I think something else maybe at the lower level would be that ability to adapt and recognize, on the first time this guy hit it this way. Maybe that's his go-to shot. So if you recognize those things right away and are able to adapt and challenge those, you might go far, because, even though they have that skill and it's a really good skill, it might just be their best thing. Or right, like maybe one guy has a really good serve, and it's like, okay, let's just adjust to it, handle that serve, and then we could probably outplay them. And I think that's a big thing too, is try not to just focus on like what you're doing and really focus on your opponents and try to like match what they're doing. I know Logan loves this.
Oh yeah. It's all about route trees, Mike.
Route trees and flow charts and just trying to do it. And it's hard. Something else I really liked. Someone else just when they commented, they said their biggest tip is just to get your serves on so you actually get to play.
Yeah. That's true. Honestly, like when you're newer to the game, if you could just get your serve on, that gives you a big advantage. Just because, especially like if it's your first tournament, get your serve on, and it's kind of like the way I play ping pong. Play to not make mistakes, because I'm not necessarily good enough to overpower the other player. But like if you don't make mistakes, you get the ball in play, it's more likely that your opponent's going to make mistakes. So just try to keep it clean and don't do anything.
I think
don't try to like overpower them.
Sometimes it's kind of like a trade-off where it's like, you could try to go for those good serves. I'm speaking for a getting better aspect, and you might have to sacrifice doing kind of well. Like maybe instead of getting round of 8, you get round of 16, but you've played so many more points that you were able to work on your defense, work on your hitting, like just by getting the ball in play. Like instead of just going for those crazy serves and maybe double faulting and stuff like that, and maybe even going for more creative shots and challenging yourself more and trying new things, you might lose earlier, but that might be okay. It's kind of tough with like your goals and your improvement over or your like short term and your long term intertwine, right? Because if you just want to get better and do better, for the next year, then maybe it's okay to lose a round early at this tournament and work on cool things instead of just like, oh, they're reading my left hit. Let's only hit righties the whole time. Where it's like, maybe if you spent the whole day using both hands, next tournament you push through even farther. So that's kind of, something I think about with as far as like how to play in tournaments. Because although they are competitions, we play in so many that it's not just a one and done thing.
Yeah, and with the new serve rule, you were talking about serves. Like, can even be like maybe the first serve that's dedicated to you try your hard crazy serve, and when you hit that awesome, when you miss, like just get it on. So you kind of have that extra opportunity now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely more forgiving. The only thing I will say is, if it is your first tournament, go watch some of the better teams play. Like, if you can catch pool play or even bracket play of those top teams, really analyze what they're doing and figure out why they set it that way or why they hit it this way, how they're rotating when they're watching the offense or when they're on defense. And then even go as far to like open talk to them. All the top guys are super nice. Top guys and girls, I should say, are super nice. They're willing to teach you a thing or two or answer any questions. So you can learn so much just from even watching one game.
Yeah, and to echo that, a lot of people have we've been playing for what, how many, like, as like 7 years now, like 6 years really. We've put in a lot of work and learned a lot of things, so you don't have to. Like, someone came up to me and they're like, so what are you doing when you go down on knee for that defense? I'm like, I actually don't want to get the ball. I'm just doing this so that you hit it that way at my teammate. And he was like, that's so smart. And I'm like, yeah, that took me, it was not an easy thing, but now you know it, so do it. So, like, talking to people, and people will give you tips. People will tell you where you think you can hit it. Of course, not everyone thinks the same, but just pick their brains, because they will tell you, and it'll save you a lot of time instead of figuring out, what works. And even watching games, because sometimes you might not see what happens. Like, I think how we view it, Sean, this was shown on ESPN on Summer Spike and in Lancaster, when Marshall would comment something, and then you had the comment right after with, like, the in-depth thought, and it's like 99% of people don't see that. But you're like, he opened up his hips, so he thought he was going there, and then he pushed it out. And so, like, those little things are really important, too. And so that's why talking to people are important, because you might not notice those aspects. Or even, like, maybe I'm just getting carried away here. Like, in the semis, right? Watch next to the players that, like, made the quarters around a 16 and see what they say about how the match unfolds and what they think about it, because they might look at it a lot different than you. It might give you a new perspective. But thanks for coming to my TED Talk on talking to players.
But I mean,
it's true.
Yeah, just learn to serve, and you don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
Logan, calling people out.
Play the youngster serve ball.
Youngster. We do often make that joke in Canada sometimes. Not to offend, but we'll go like, can't play D? Cut serve. Don't have a left hand? Cut serve. Sorry, just kidding. Cut serve's really good. It's working out. Keep doing it if you want to do it, but also try to improve in your other aspects of the game, because it will only get you to a certain point. There is a cap. There is a cap.
True. If we do want to get into it, I do completely feel that way. I don't want to go as far to say that the cut serve's ruining the game, but the old guy over here would say that people are focusing too much on serves and not as much on their well-rounded game. I don't know. It worries me.
Hey, if you're a good serve returner, then cut serves aren't as effective.
Yeah.
So you don't get aced.
I think it works like they work together, right? Like, so Jarrett brought out some great serves on Saturday, and he was already like the solid player fundamentally everywhere. Adding a new serve felt like it broke him into a new level. And then so there's a lot of players, I think, that have the opposite, where it's like, all right, I have a good serve, now I need all the other skills. So there might be a lot of people like you, Sean, some old timers, and maybe a lot of players out there that have great skills, and then actually working on that serve will push you through. The same as working on defense.
That's why I'm never coming back, because I know I have a bad serve, and I don't want to put the time in to get a good serve. So all I do is I'll talk trash on it and let the new kids do their thing.
I don't know. It's you don't crazy like. This is the thing. You don't need a good serve if your partner has a good serve. How about that?
Yeah, that's I try to make a career off that.
I was to think back to East Regionals where Dan had a good serve, and then like Skylar's serves. Skylar's serves are so weird because like they don't look good, but I know when you face them, I think they're pretty challenging. But obviously they're not like cut serve crazy. But I was thinking just
they make you think.
yeah. They like so I was thinking of East Regionals where it's like Dan just has a pretty decent serve, so they can play defense, and like that's a huge thing. Like the amount of defensive ups that you and Jared had was crazy, and some of them were due to serves, and some of them were just due to some tough touches. But it goes around. All right, what a tangent there. Last topic, want to touch on double fault rule. How'd you guys feel it went in San Diego? If you aren't, I'm gonna inform the people. If you don't know, now hitting rim, missing the set completely, and just normal pockets, roll ups, and foot faults. Say that are all in high. All a fault. So you get a second serve for all of those. There's no case in where you don't get a second serve. Is that correct? Fact checking. It's just everything you get. Everything you get a second serve. Even if you hit the rim, miss the set, any of that. Kind of an extension on that, you can actually play off the rim, which is a crazy thing now too. But so how do you guys feel using it in San Diego?
I'm a big fan. I like it. I think it adds more to the game. It gets more serves on. It kind of allows some breathing room. It allows you to experiment with your serve. And for someone who is in a constant state of trying to improve my serve for my entire life, it's kind of extra practice, which I like. And it kind of allows for some setups on things. You can kind of use the fault to kind of set up for other things. So I'm a big fan of it. It just feels right.
My personal strategy is hit every serve super far over their head, so you like tire them out a ton, and then just get your second one on. And maybe
That's brilliant.
Do it at least game 1. Game 2 and 3, they're way too tired. Sean, how'd you like it?
I liked it. I'll start by saying that I voted against it on the board. I didn't think it would be a good thing to implement, at least not this season. But after playing with it, it was interesting because the reason I didn't like it, I thought it would give too much power to the people that are already really good at serving. But what I kind of found throughout the tournament that I played was it almost got in their head and went against them in the sense that on their first serve, they were trying too hard, maybe 10% harder than they were before. So they're missing more and not getting those typical aces all the time. And then on their second serve, they would take some off. So it would be like they couldn't find that sweet middle ground that they were having before when they had to worry about it during the first serve. So it kind of benefited. Hopefully it stays that way. Maybe me talking about it now will come back to bite me and people will get better at serving again. But
yeah, we'll see how it goes.
That was my impression.
I'm sure it will develop over the course of the year. I'm sure there's someone out there with their stats and saying, oh my goodness, it could take a whole tournament where you say, my first serve, I'm always going to do this one. My second serve, I'm always going to do this. And, look at the stats and see, how likely was that to get them on? How likely was that to get a break? How many pockets did I have? And then I'm sure some cool data could come out of that and saying, oh, well, so I think we actually find we should do a soft one on the first one or something like that. Or always drop it. This is the thing. Always drop your first serve no matter what. And then always drop your second serve. Always drop it. So that's a thought, right? Stand up in front of the net. So many drops are so good. What is your percentage? Are 30% of your drops crazy good? So should you really just drop it every time if you're getting so many things? But the problem with that is how many of those drops hit the middle of the net and pop right up super easy that aren't pockets? You kind of either want it to be a fault or not. You want it to be good or a fault. You don't want it to be just an okay serve.
If you drop every time, though, then how much better becomes the few times you hit hard?
True. So out of nowhere, you're just woo!
Yeah,
whoa,
I wasn't expecting that. Yeah. Lull them to sleep.
You guys just figured out the 2019 meta.
But how frustrating would it be? I hate going down and getting drops. If your opponent just dropped it every time and you had to lunge over and go down to your knees, oh, that'd be the worst. I would hate it.
I don't actually have any stats to back this up, but it seems as if whenever you drop it, like the chance of the returning team like forcing an error is a lot higher.
There are a lot of missed second sets because you're like, do I set it underhand, overhand? Do I set it over the net? I'm in the way a little bit. What happens?
It sounds like cut serve's out the door. Drops only is on its
Wow.
way in.
Incepted.
Boom.
Boom. All right. Well,
Maybe
with
I'll-
that,
maybe-
what, Logan?
I was gonna say maybe I'll try that. That'll be my strategy from here on out. Don't tell anyone. Don't
Someone
tell
with a
anyone
good
that.
drop could probably crush it, but
Wait, you're implying that it's not me.
just someone with a good drop. All right. So,
That's probably
guys,
true.
that is all I had for today. We actually are like at 30 minutes.
Wow,
That was
Perfect.
crazy.
it's like 2 episodes of SpongeBob.
Sure.
It is.
Rest in peace.
They're 50 minutes apiece.
We still got it.
We still got it. And yeah, so to the listeners and not viewers, because we're only doing audio this time. That's because Logan has this weirdly weird like mustache, and I just didn't want to show it on
Well, I also have a beard.
camera. But I can't. I just look at the mustache.
I really need to shave.
But anyway, so to the listeners, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to do this some more often. You know, no schedule yet, but we'll see what happens as it goes. And hope you enjoy San Francisco this weekend if you're going, or you're gonna be watching from home on the Periscope or the Twitch. And Logan, Sean, any last words? Last words. Closing thoughts. That's what you're supposed to say. Closing thoughts.
Am I about
Any
to die?
closing thoughts?
Nope.
See you out in San Francisco. Looking forward to it.
All right, peace, guys. Thanks for listening. Spike on.
Spike on.
Peace.